Hey, what's up, you guys? So, I am back already, and this time I wanted to talk about something a little different. And it is sometimes during my week, I have weird thoughts about being bored and not really knowing how to address it. Naturally, I think back to a time in my life when I wasn't bored as often. And of course, that would have to be my childhood. What was different during my childhood? Well, during your childhood, you're learning a lot of things. You're seeing things for the first time that impress you, airplanes, um, cars that you yourself can ride, which, would be those toy ones. And of course, they cannot take you as far as adult vehicles because, the obvious reasons. But to me, that was exciting. Like those toys that you could sit in and they would automatically go wherever you wanted them to. To me, that was intense. So when you're a child, all that you want to do is have fun and play. But that would get disrupted sometimes. Hey, dude, because sometimes you would get excess homework. So your fun activities will get disrupted. So as an adult, you don't have that aspect of thanks a lot. Yes, I am inspired by Star Wars. And because this topic has the potential of getting a little dark, I said, let me change my image real quick. But like I was saying, um, but as an adult, even though you have a lot of free time, at least in your 20s, I guess, um, if you don't have kids, if you don't have, all these bullshit commitments associated with being older that take up your time and you cannot escape from. Um, Clearly, the way that you have fun as an adult is way different from when you're a kid. At least as an adult, I have never gone back to playing with action figures. And I grew up playing with a lot of action figures. Um, I wish that I would have taken a picture of my entire collection before I gave it away. Um, but I made a video with the remaining ones that I had that I just did not have the heart to get rid of. but as a kid, all that I needed were my video game consoles, my action figures, and a cartoon or anime of some sort or a wrestling show. That was all that I needed to be entertained. But as an adult, it's like my games are not appealing for me anymore. Action figures are not appealing for me anymore. Um, I watch wrestling from time to time, but I definitely cannot sit through it like I used to. And of course, my interests have changed. As a kid, I enjoyed music, but not with quite the passion for actually practicing it and really collecting it like I do now. So I guess the point that I'm trying to really express is how do we handle a conflictive transition from, going from a childhood where it was hard for you to be born, but now as an adult, when you should have more control over how you have fun, why is it so hard to be engaged with something? Why is it so hard to be entertained, but retained at entertainment? Which means when I used to play my games, I could be playing my games for hours straight. But sometimes, if I'm doing a YouTube video watching marathon, I get tired of it, I'm bored of it at some point. Like, I can only do, say, 2 episodes of one series that is no longer than 20 minutes. At other times, I can only do short clips and then I try to do something else, such as cook something different or try to get cleaning, like cleaning my car, cleaning my room some more, stuff like that. But I get bored so quickly. Why can I not? Why can a form of entertainment not retain me for so long? And vlogging is the one thing that I can say I'm very consistent with. I find it super fun at any time, but sometimes I do slack at it because it feels like a job. And when I'm reaching that stage, I'm like, okay, I think I need to change the setup a little bit, change the direction, the topics a little bit. So, you guys saw me, I had that time period when I was doing a lot of food videos and attempted to review movies and all that. That brought me back to my game, but it's just hard. I find it difficult to transition from some adulthood things, or sorry, transition into adulthood things, because I feel like the stuff that's supposed to entertain me as an adult really doesn't. So, but anyways, I don't think too hard about it. It's just that I like to recognize that that is a thing for me, that's happening to me. And I just wonder if anybody else ever thinks about that, because I honestly cannot say that I have had this kind of conversation with anybody. Like, hey, what did you used to do as a kid to entertain yourself that now as an adult you don't do anymore, but you've replaced it with something else? Like your time is being taken up by something else. What is that something else? Why did that happen? So let me see what you're saying. Um, let's see. I will watch this one. Okay. I liked all of the things listed. We would have been best friends. I agree. Times have changed. I find myself doing high mentally stuff now. I am planning to open 3 more businesses. I think we're used to have it, but want change. Don't ever make a hobby a job because it will never be the same. I have learned that. I have always said a person changing ever 4 to 5 years. I still play Sega games to get back that old happy man. Yeah, like for me, at any time, if I had any issues with stress or boredom, I could just play my games. But honestly, it feels like overwhelming. It feels like a big trouble to go through. And not only that, but the last time I touched my games was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And I could not spend more than 10 minutes playing my favorite game, which was Metal Gear Solid 2, which 5, 6 years ago, I could play that mug for 5 hours straight. What happened? Just what happened? Um, and when it comes to making a a hobby my job, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, it's hard to feel a burden from something that you enjoy. Like if you can turn your hobby into a job, it's because you have control over it. You have control of your time, you have control of the content that you're producing. But I guess if you are really dependent on that and you really make that your sole source of income, then if you rely on the demand of the product to make your money, then yes, it's going to get stressful. And you will learn to detest your job because you're losing your freedom. You're losing your sense of time, your sense of control, your interests, all that good stuff. So yeah, I think that if that's what happens, like your source of income relies on the demand for the product, then yes, you will learn to detest it. But for me, if I have control over it, control over the time, what I put out, when I put it out, then I don't think I can run a business and be completely detesting it. But then again, I don't have that privilege, I don't have that experience. So I can sit here and talk all I want, but I do have an imagination. So just knowing myself, knowing my personality, that's what I like to infer from knowing myself. So, anyways, You see, correct. That's why I am opening more businesses. Information technology has become my life. I used to play sports, wrestle, fight, party, etc. I'm still going to do YouTube videos very soon. Yeah, I feel like for me, ever since I started doing this vlogging thing, it still amazes me how far I've come because I never ever thought that I would do something like this. I hate it watching myself, listening to myself, and just I could not conceive that. But now that I've done it, what I love the most is that I was able to challenge myself, do something that I said I would never do, and that I definitely did not find enjoyable. But now I can say that I changed my mind. And um, it's a form of entertainment that when I was a child, I would have never seen as entertaining. I would have seen as embarrassing or just not interesting in any kind of way. But now I can say that I've changed my mind and I love it, and I'm glad that this exists for me. So now I just don't plan on changing. I don't plan on stopping because, unlike my games, which probably what turned me off about my games is that I know that video games are a waste of time. I gained nothing from them. So with making videos, it's kind of different because I started doing it as a way of letting go of stress. And I also knew that I had the potential of meeting people. So it's starting to happen. It doesn't happen overnight because, when you're starting from scratch, it's hard when this site is so competitive. It's hard for people to dig you up, but something may happen at the right time, and it doesn't stop there. So that's what I'm so excited when it comes to this about. So, anyways, I learned the transition you're talking about happened to me around 19 and in my 20s. I think you are doing a great job, actually. Well, thanks a lot, because I like the fact that I'm thinking about this, asking these questions, acknowledging the thoughts. But at least I can say that I don't feel any kind of insecurity. It's just that I'm just very curious. I don't have an explanation as to why things have changed. I do embrace the change. I knew it was going to happen, but some of it has happened so abruptly. Like, I'm trying to remember the last time I played my games consistently. I never, ever, ever thought that that was the last time that I was going to play and be really invested in my game. So I guess it's one of those things that your life just changes in a second, and you don't think about it until it happens. So, just like an accident can change your life, um, it didn't take an accident for me to stop playing my games, but what happened? What took its place? And then I said, well, I do have a job that leaves me super tired, and all that I want to do is eat, sleep, and maybe watch something, repeat. But then I told myself I cannot live in this pattern forever because I'm not enriching my life in any way. I'm enriching someone else of the pain in my back, right? But I'm not getting a lot of the gains. So I said something has to change. So that's when I started really thinking about what kind of abilities do I have? Is there anything that I can imagine myself doing for, let's call it 8 hours a day? And I said, I love to draw, but realistically, I can't do it because it's not something that I can do on command. And, I haven't drawn anything in months. So it's not reliable for me. And you might say, oh, the motivation and inspiration for you to draw will come because you know that your food that you bring to the table relies on it. I don't function like that. When I was in school, people were telling me, everybody who knew that I was not going to take the college route, they were like, but why? If you're worried about, because something that I used to say was, I'm going to be paying for something that I'm not interested in and I'm not going to be motivated for. And they were like, oh, but you're going to be spending money on it, so you will make the most of it. And I'm like, I don't function like that. Do you think that I have gone shopping and stimulated the economy in my city just because it's the holidays? No, I'm not indoctrinated like that. So even though I'm spending money on college, I'm not indoctrinated to be focused on it. So I don't want to have the stress of I have to feel the interest and the burn of studying because I am paying for this. No, I want for it to come naturally. So same thing with hobbies and jobs. I had a feeling that since I was terrible with people, have terrible social skills, I need to have a job that challenges me, that takes me out of my comfort zone. So that first job that I needed was customer service, dealing with people. I discovered that I strongly dislike it now because I'm burned out. So clearly, that is not a job that I can do and like forever. And although I have my certain degree of antisocial, I do like people still because, hello, I have a boyfriend, I have friends. So it's not that bad, but the kind of work that I want to do with people cannot be having people in excess, which is what this job provides me with. So that was a learning experience. I thought that I was going to be able to handle, say, customer service forever, but nope. Nope. Let's see. I agree. I dropped out of college 2 years in, and I get phone calls from jobs offering me over 100,000. Hell, I even dropped out of high school. I work for myself and love it. See, for me, that's amazing. I can get behind that and I can admire that because you are in control of your fate. You're in control of your time. You don't have to take orders from anybody, nobody makes your schedule. So I think that's great. Why aren't people encouraged to think that way? Why are people being pushed into the college route as opposed to exploring their inner abilities and capabilities and talents and making something with that? You know? So that's why I say I just refuse to be in the system any longer. They already got me trapped as it is. So, anyways, um, things are different, but I am at peace. I can't help others the way I want. I agree. I started off in customer service actually. I think everybody's mostly everybody's experience is customer service. And in fact, I do encourage um everybody to start off in customer service. What is up with my face being itchy? Anyways, I encourage everybody to have the customer service experience because people are the ones who keep businesses alive. You have to get people to spend money for you to keep making money and survive and have food on the table. So if you do not dominate that, if you don't have the basic experience with it, let alone comfort, like feeling comfortable about performing that job, then you're gonna have a rough time. Being in customer service lets you see a lot of people, different kinds of personalities, humors, moods. So sometimes you're thinking when you're in a business setting, everything at all times is going to be professional. You're going to deal with uneducated people. You're going to deal with ignorant people, people with short tempers. How do you handle that? That is why I needed this experience because if you don't have any exposure to that, you get shocked because you're not anticipating that that type of thing happens. You cannot really confront something that you're not prepared for. So That's why I feel it's so important that you consider it. Customer service teaches soft skills people don't have today. It's very important, a good skill. And you know what else? I feel like companies are looking for people with things that should come to you naturally, and that is innovation, creativity, problem solving. It's not even skills that, say, a school can teach you. There's not a course for how to be creative. Well, you can say the arts do that, like music, theater, but it has its limitations, you know. Sometimes when I when I look at job applications, just job postings, I see that someone who's able to bring ideas and everything. And then when you step into the professional setting, you're trying to conduct that. But a lot of people are not in your page. They're not at your level. They cannot think like you. And I'm like, why? Why can you not? Why is it that if something out of routine happens, you freak out because you're losing control? You're not prepared for that. Why? Why aren't you adaptable? You know, you expect to just follow everything by the book. Like, if something that you did not train for happens, you don't know how to solve the problem. Why? You know? So that's why I think it's important for people to not become specialized on just one thing. I like to learn a little bit of everything. Like where I'm at, I have tried to learn a little bit of every department. I may not be strongly skilled throughout the whole, business, but at least I know a fact about each place. I cannot say that everybody else who I know is the same way. Like they don't take that initiative to learn and stuff. So for that reason, I feel like that's what makes me just stand out a little more from a crowd, because that's really the way that I think. Um, I don't like to be comfortable with just being a really, really good, exceptionally good in one thing. That does not make me an expert. It does not make me wise. It does not make me prepared to tackle other challenges. It makes me feel comfortable. And when you feel comfortable and something out of the routine happens, that's when you learn that you don't have as much control and let's call it education, knowledge, like you think you do. When you become specialized in something, you become really arrogant because you're thinking, I got all this experience in this thing that I've created a routine for. So why do you think people hate change? People hate change because you're forced to think about ways to implement something and still make ends meet. But people just like to freak out because they got too comfortable behind the routine that they knew. So that's why they cannot handle simple changes. So that's why I say that I refuse to be that way. I refuse to stop growing and learning. And because I feel like that limits my opportunities. I'm not quite sure still what I would like to do for the rest of my life, but at least I can say that I can appreciate lessons, experiences, different things, you know, leaving town to work somewhere else. You know, I'm not afraid to try things and break my routine. Quite the contrary. Bring it. Bingo, but never get comfortable. I have been doing computer stuff since I was in the sixth grade and I'm still learning. I like the simple things in life. Just like me, I just cannot imagine being happy with myself and my life knowing that I'm not growing anymore. I'm not learning anymore. Um, so at some point, I'm learning, I'm self teaching how to play the keyboard, right? But if I ever have the opportunity to pick up another instrument, I'm doing it. Even though I will not know what I'm doing, I'll still give it a shot. I think this life has so much to offer for you to not take advantage of that and become too comfortable on just one thing and think that that's the best thing since sliced bread, you know? So I cannot be impressed by someone who's just specialized in something because it's a routine, it's a pattern. So you used to play the keyboard and you're good at the guitar. That's awesome. For me, the guitar is so confusing. Like, no matter what, it always sounds the same. So I did watch a tutorial about a year or two ago because I became really curious, how are people who play a guitar thinking? Um, and then the motion that you do is different because I'm used to just pressing keys, and then this thing requires you to like strum something, and I'm like, no, I have to completely train myself to do a new motion, So, but anyways, um, I believe that I have covered everything that I meant to cover when it comes to my transitioning of entertainment from when you're a child to when you're an adult and just boredom with life. I feel like it's absurd that as adults we still find ourselves saying that we get bored because there is just so much in this planet, so much happening, so much to do, but yet we are too isolated. And I just don't want to fall victim to that, especially from a young age, and then grow old and be like, wow, I still don't know a whole lot about where I live in. As humans, we think that just because we believe that we understand a thing or two, like, say, we have gotten pretty good about predicting the weather. Now we're kind of like arrogant about it, like, oh yeah, I know everything that there is to know about the weather. But sometimes you cannot explain a phenomenon that you have not seen. So, of course, because you haven't experienced it. So, if you haven't explored something, you cannot possibly begin to understand it. So, but that's what I'm saying, man. I don't want to be that person who is stuck with just one mindset. I want to be truly open. Um, we live in the information age. People get too comfortable. We have all the information, and we have the attention of nuts. Well, see, that's the thing. Random, do you believe the earth is round or flat? Honestly, I believe that the earth is round simply because when you look at the sky, it does not look to me like a ceiling. You know that a ceiling is like perfectly flat? When I look at the sky, I swear I can see something round. Like it's sort of it. I don't want to call it a fish eye view, a bird bird's eye view. What do you call that? Anyways, but to me, it looks kind of roundish. And also, I have seen the horizon from a plane, like in flight. I cannot recall how high I was flying, but I remember seeing that the horizon was not perfectly level. It had kind of a curve to it. So, because of those experiences, that's why I do believe that the earth is really round. Um, and it just makes sense for it to be round because I feel like circles, spheres really are the key to our conveniences and our survival. Like, let me explain it. Thanks to some kind of like sports, the game is played with a sphere. Basketball, the ball has the shape of a sphere. Tennis ball has the shape of a sphere. Car tires kind of remind me of a sphere, because they have the rim, and the rim is circular, and then your tire is also circular. So it's not a sphere, but we do know that if you were to take a sphere and then slice it, you have a circle. So I feel like a sphere and the circular shape in general is really the most impactful in this globe. And also, you know that I'm a science girl, molecules are shown to be spherical. So why wouldn't the granddaddy of all particles, the planet, be spherical? See what I mean? I know that I'm explaining it poorly, maybe. I've never really dwelt on that, so I'm trying to explain this on the fly. Um, but but yeah, that's really what I think um, when it comes to the Earth being flat or round. I have never had a doubt in my mind um, that it's round. Um, let's see. I feel like there is a third point that I could say about why I believe that it's round, but it escapes me. Anyway, let me make sure that I reply to everything. Truth, it is round, kind of. See, I think that it is not a perfect sphere. I think that it's a little distorted, but wow, really, like of all nights, tonight's when all the creaking and banging noises have to, you know, like someone's beating on a wall. I know it's not my mom, but my mom is walking upstairs, so that's what the creaking is about. Maybe you can or cannot hear it, but anyway. But it's flat also depending on how you look at it. See, if you are looking at it from your perspective of where you're standing, then yeah, it will seem flat because you're parallel to the ground. Like here at home, my floor is like perfectly flat, right? So if I'm standing on it, I will associate my path with being flat everywhere I go. But but at the same time, when it comes to the planet, I cannot think that you are infinitely. If I were to start walking from, let's say that the Earth is small, let's say that it's like maybe, I don't know, a hundred miles long. Like if I were walking and there was this huge bridge just going around the planet to, you know, be able to cross oceans and everything. Let's pretend that there are no mountains. Let's pretend that the earth is just a huge plain. Would I be able to make it back to the point that I started if the land is perfectly flat? You know, when I think of flatness, I don't think of something that I can return to um, without doing a circle. See what I mean? It's like because the earth is round, it is possible for you to, you know, start here and then return, do a revolution and return to where you came from. But if it's flat, you know, I can keep going this way forever. But unlike a sphere, you know, if my arm were a sphere, I can start here and walk around my arm and eventually get here. See what I mean? That's like the best way that I can explain it. So, if I can board a plane where I can fly, say, go from west to east, then I know that at some point I will come back to the airport that I took off from because I went around an object that supported that motion. See what I mean? So if it were flat, it's like there's no way that on a flat surface I can come back this way. So yeah, yeah, it's hard to put into words since I've never really thought about it. But yeah, um, that's the way I visualize it. But then again, people have a thing against conspiracy theories, I guess. But you know, conspiracy is just a term that we came up with to kind of say this is the truth, but we don't want to say that it's the truth because we don't have the responsibility. We don't want to have the responsibility associated with it. So, you know, science is life. I agree. That's why I'm fascinated with it. You know, from the moment that I started to reason as a kid, I always gravitated towards science. And as an adult, sometimes science, um, I like to be careful with it because I feel like it may get on my way sometimes, especially with the stuff that I can't comprehend and spirituality getting in the way a little bit. But, you know, it's not a religion. I don't think that science exists to contradict religion, but in the same manner that there is religion, there's also science. And if the two are at a conflict, I believe that we should just come together and have a debate and just come about it, you know? I like to say that the stuff that even science declares a miracle, that's where the spiritual aspect of it comes in. Um, like, let me give you an example. I was telling my boyfriend tonight about times when I have really, really been on a tight situation. Like, there was this time between last year and the year before where sometimes I would run very, very low on money to where I was wondering, I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford something to eat. And I knew that mom was also in a tight situation. Without me asking, without me praying, because I'm not a prayer, somehow money appeared in my life. It wasn't necessarily cash, but the blessings showed up in a way that was relevant for me. Sometimes people would give me gift cards. Other times, my boyfriend just happened to make plans, like dinner plans, and I'm like, yay, because, you know, I was worried about how I was going to eat. He didn't necessarily know that I was lacking stuff, but it's like without me asking, food plans, food money just came to me. And that is something that science cannot explain. Every time that I was short, every time that I was guaranteed to go hungry or eat very little for a day, somehow help came to me. So I do believe that because you are a part of this environment, you are connected to the environment, and the environment, you are a vital part of it. So it knows that you are struggling. It will somehow find a way to assist you to make it. But if you are kind of a parasite to the environment, it is likely that this is what people call, I guess, bad luck or karma. It is likely that you will not get the blessings, what we call blessings. So maybe what I just expressed is complete bullshit. It's nothing to do. It's probably just divine timing, or it's probably just a coincidence. But the fact that it happens so accurately, come on, come on. So that's why I like to describe it as spirituality, um, or some divine intervention. But that is my favorite example to share because it's something that no amount of scientific methoding it, you know, will give us an answer that we can prove and try again and get the same result, you know? So let me see what else you said. I might need your input on my business. Yeah, just let me know what it is and I'll try to help. I can't say that I'm great at business, but but maybe you just need a third person, unbiased opinion. Since I am an atheist, I love shows like House, Rick, and Morty. If you want to watch cartoons, I've heard of them, but I've never messed with them. Yes, the thing with science, it admits when it's wrong and will change. Exactly. That's why I feel like I can trust science because independently, I can have an observation. I can conduct some tests to try to prove or explain something. But if I get a result that changes everything, I can just say, oh crap, I just messed this up. I was wrong. And let's edit my report. But I feel like religion, it's too dead set for me. And I have proven to myself that I don't need it to be successful and happy and have joy in my soul, you know? Watching it so funny, we combine Instagram and that. It's so science and against religion stuff. It's good laugh. For real, you can watch it live on YouTube. All right, I'll make a note of that. But yeah, put it this way: the currently established religions have great ideas that I can get behind, but I cannot be devoted to them because I cannot believe that one piece of documentation is absolutely applicable for everybody under every circumstance. You know, um, say say that let's say that a religion demands that you have to have um, shrimp in every single one of your meals. I'm somewhat allergic to shrimp. Am I condemned to eat shrimp forever if I want to go to heaven? Do I have to die from eating shrimp so that I'm guaranteed to go to heaven? I'm not associating this with any religion, okay? This is just me coming up with an example. But, you know, religion assumes that your circumstances are just the same. And I cannot get behind that. Um, Shoot, I don't know how true this is, but I believe that I read something about someone being sensitive to water. Water. There's people sensitive to sunlight. So if a religion says that your job has to be 2 hours long every day and you have to be a carpenter under the sun, this can kill you. So, how can you follow that discipline when your body is not designed to do that and you're not going to just take death just because this is what was established before you were born and even had a say over it? You know? Like, if there is something that I cannot have an input on, something that I cannot influence, it's really hard for me to want to accept it and implement it into my daily life, you know? Because I feel like as an individual, I have my own identity and I'm supposed to have full control of my fate. That is the complete opposite of me having control, you know? So, um, I'm so against religious stuff because of history. I love history, but the major Abrahamic religions cause issue. I do understand some of the laws made by religious stuff years ago. So, at some point, I will pick up the Bible and start reading it. Given that I know someone who's really into it, and I just want to respect them for it and understand about it better, and I myself have a genuine interest in what it has to say. I had started reading it when I was in sixth grade, and I became very frustrated because the terminology was complicated, and I felt like reading the Bible was just stuff that adults did because, my mom read it, a pastor at church read it, but I never saw a kid reading it. So, I will read it, and my goal is to read it from beginning to end. And I know that I will not understand everything, and I also have to bear in mind that what the terms that I know, modern days, do not apply to that necessarily. So I just want to find some kind of like Biblenary dictionary for the Bible, um, and have that by my side. Load myself with patience and for my attention span to not be limited because sometimes I cannot just read something and absorb what it's saying. Like sometimes I read some comments and I do not reply to them immediately because I am seeing the words, I am reading, but I'm not analyzing it. It's like the difference between hearing and listening. Physically, I hear the sound, but I am not listening, which is interpreting the information that my ears are picking up. So when I read a comment, sometimes it's like, okay, there's nothing wrong with my vision. I see the comment in front of me, but just because I'm reading it doesn't mean that I'm grasping what it's saying, let alone am I in the condition to give a, like, um, what's the word? Um, a reply that's, God, the word just left me because I'm distracted by noises. It's not concise, but um, not legible. Anyways, able to be understood. That's what I'm saying. You know, when you're delirious, you say nonsense. So I don't want to type a reply that's pure nonsense. You know. Um, let's see. In the past, that is, but it's good. The issue is in America, they lie about a lot. Exactly. So, because I am not very savvy on religious stuff, I don't want to accidentally read a document that's going to mislead me. The Catholics need to release the other books. Right. Yeah. The person I know was mentioning that too. I have an issue with Catholics since they are the ones that were for slavery. The Bible was written by black people, but that's another thing. The Hebrews and Jews are not even the same. Oh, this topic is another video. Yes, I have had a religious topic video pending, but I haven't dug into it because I'm not well informed to have an opinion. And although I'm not afraid to put my opinion and thoughts out there and be possibly roasted for it, I just don't want to not know my content, you know? I want to be able to say, okay, let's talk about why I cannot, to give it, to name an example, why I don't believe in the Genesis as the way that our world came about, you know? I want to be able to have a reference, say why, and, you know. So, anyways, um, I challenge everybody. This is to find me a Bible that actually still has the maps in them. My mom has one of those. Jew is the true fakes. I have some books on it. you know, that's the thing. There are the so-called Jews from, like, the Jews who we think about as Jews, and then there's actually um, the Jewish folks. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like we associate Jew with like one group of people and then Jewish to. I'm trying to say the difference. It's like the folks who were the Jews before all this modern stuff came about, you know? That's what I'm saying. I don't start a stream about that topic or a video about that topic because I don't know my names right. It's like if as if I were trying to review a movie that I saw for the first time and I could not retain the names of the characters. So it's going to take me some time. Um, just know that I'm really eager to start that conversation, but it's just really hard for me to focus on it because I'm just completely ignorant about it, and to start now is kind of overwhelming for me, especially when I have other goals. So, but anyways, um, but what I can propose is maybe we can schedule some kind of stream, and then shoot, maybe I can invite the person who I say who is really knowledgeable about this topic. I would love to hear and watch you guys having a crack at it. So yeah, we should make that happen. That would be quite a good experience. The Jews we call today are the fakes that came down. I think they are the Tsar, like the Russians mixed with Arab. Yeah, that too. And then I have heard stuff about the Israelites and just stuff got mixed up, history got destroyed, and all that good stuff. We should. I have had pastors and professors want to meet me and debate me. All right, well, that's cool. I will. I guess I can shoot you an email at some point and be like, "Hey, dude, when will you be available, or would this time be nice?" And yeah, I'm that guy. I read the Bible and the Quran. It's interesting. I have had interest in the Quran myself. When I was in seventh grade, that was the first time I heard of it. So I was like, I just want to have both books side by side and just compare and contrast. Yeah, I have been slacking and meaning to email you. Yeah, dude, don't worry about it. Even if you had emailed me, I probably would not have gotten back to you because I haven't been signing in too much, just for work stuff. So I guess the holidays just do this to me. I become so overwhelmed because there is a lot of noise going on. People's plans, talk, work demands, then my personal wants and needs, then, personal challenges that one experiences in life, family stuff, home stuff. So, damn the holidays. Exactly. You cuss at them for me. um, but fortunately, I'm pretty free from it, as in, I don't feel desperate that I have to go out and go shopping. I have to have a tree, where is the tree? Here. So, I'm not. The stress of the holidays is just a stress that sort of permeates into your life because you're a member of society. But it's not like, I have not watched that movie. Um, but it's not like the stress is because I'm trying to live up to expectations. Nah, it's just that I get caught up in the middle of it. Damn that pagan shit. Yeah, exactly, pagan. Um, that's a term that I hear a lot. Pagan, 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 pagan. But anyways, well, thanks so much for tuning in. I will cut the topic right here, since yeah, we covered everything when it comes to the entertainment stuff, and this is that awesome part of the stream when we just start rambling and dig into other topics. But at least you gave me some ideas on how to start a conversation, like one section of religion to explore, or yeah, I guess a religious topic. Also, in your email, include the Rick and Morty stuff so that I remember to check it out. I believe that was the only thing that, the other thing that you told me to look into, that I said that I would look into. So, yeah. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.